Nothing's fighting like a dream that never ends. The fighter in you brings out the fighter in me. Shake it off and take your corner, time for shout out. The fighter in you brings out the fighter in me.
Welcome back, fight friends, to another episode of the Mighty Shoutout Podcast. In the world of Muay Thai, holy cow, look who it is. My bad. Let me introduce you properly. Look who it is, Mr. Sia Joey in the house. Holy cow. I'm sure you know where that came from.
Yeah,
Mr.
well,
Joe
you know,
Comerford. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
definitely he's my shout out. He's my shout out, man. Just rang him before actually. So yeah, big shout out to CK Kieran Walsh doing amazing things in Australia, and he actually, you know, it was really interesting. He was saying, "Oh, when are you doing that podcast with Jay?" And I said, "Oh, we're doing it this evening." So he also said to say hi. So big
Beauty.
shout out to Kieran Walsh, great guy, phenomenal trainer, trains some phenomenal athletes, and doing some big things in the world of Muay Thai in Australia. So yeah, really, really love that guy.
Yeah. You know what's funny? He came to Canada here, did a for the WBC Youth World Championships, and just got to do a podcast and legit changed my life. Just said a few things that, you know, he probably just said passing, and just sent my life into a spiral where I had to correct and question a lot of things about me, and for that I will never ever thank him enough and forgive him for sending my life down that spiral there. But all for
He's
the
a
better.
he's a man wiser beyond his years, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Mr. Joe Comerford, thanks for doing this. Obviously not Sia Joey, but for those who are like, who's that? Can you explain real quick, where does that come from? What you this Sia Sia Joey thing between you two?
Okay. So in Thailand, you have some of the big promoters like Boat Pet Indie, and in Thai language, when you call somebody Sia, it basically means that they're somebody in a position of power with a lot of money. So, for example, if you're like a wealthy uncle who owns a couple of like high-end businesses, usually kind of conglomerate type businesses, you would be called Sia. And it's basically a show of respect to say, oh wow, you've accomplished something really high, or you come from a lot of money. It's a sign of respect to somebody with authority and with a lot of cash behind them, basically. It's basically to call somebody a big, like a baller, I think.
Sure.
But it's kind of an inside joke because there's a group of Australian trainers and promoters that are kind of really, really pushing the growth of Australian Muay Thai, especially on the East Coast. So if anybody in Canada is familiar, if anybody who listens to this podcast, Australia is, well, at least the East Coast was kind of like Canada in a sense that there was no real conformity and there was no real direction for amateurs or Muay Thai in general. So my belief is that Canada elbows were illegal for the longest time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so similar to Australia in New South Wales, where I'm from, elbows were illegal for a very long time. So kickboxing was massive in terms of combat sports.
Hmm.
And so the guys that are involved in really driving the sport are the ones who created huge amateur pathways in Canberra, New South Wales, and Victoria. And there's a group of promoters, and Matt Lucas, if people are familiar with
Shout out
him,
to Matt Lucas,
called
you bet.
them the Sian Moi Falang, which means like Sian Moi means boxing analyst or boxing expert. So often here in Thailand, when we call someone a Sian Moi, it means like a professor of Muay Thai or a
Hmm.
professor of boxing. So sometimes they can be the gamblers or sometimes they can be the boxing analysts. So it's kind of an inside joke in that circle that we call people like CK or C Joe or see it, Andy. It's just about like I don't know, a kind of a bit of a lame inside joke. That's
Sure.
basically where that comes from. Yeah.
No, I got it. So you guys are very respectful to each other and calling yourselves each other wealthy and
Yeah,
respected.
yeah,
Well done.
yeah. Except I've got no money whatsoever, so
But it's nice to be called that you do.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. You can only live the dream, right?
That's it. Right on. So from my point of view, so for people still listening, like we still don't understand what's going on. Um, I always think of it, especially if you've been on my any sort of Muay Thai interest, really around the planet. Your face is familiar. Now, initially for me, it was through content. I see you do a phenomenal. By the way, I'd love to talk to you about that, but listen, I'm 43, man. I'm old as dirt, trying to do things on the computer and get stuff out. Like for me to get a 60-second clip out is going to take 3 hours of my morning. And
Right.
and I see that you do a phenomenal job of educating the world. Like I know you had that sort of tagline in the world of Muay Thai,
Mm.
which I thought was phenomenal because the things that came after reached everybody. Like you did something, a whole bunch of stuff, Australian fighters, Canadian fighters, things that happened in Thailand, your journey, what to watch out for, traveling to Thailand. I thought you did a phenomenal job. And for me, that's where I initially saw you. And then all of a sudden I can see that you're doing commentating on like some of the big shows. And man, before we get into all that, but where did this whole journey start from you? I do know that you do have some fight experience. You're from Australia, obviously. That's not a very Thai sounding accent that you're rocking. Uh, but living in Thailand, obviously. So
Yeah, yeah.
where did this whole crazy journey start for you?
It's a real funny one. So I think initially I've always been interested in Muay Thai. When I was a kid, I was quite competitive in Taekwondo, and then I stopped that for a while, and I played a bunch of other sports. I was into music. I was into art. I think essentially I'm kind of this trick of all trades. I've tried a bit of everything when growing up, and
Hmm.
then I think when I left school, when I was in school, I got bullied quite a fair bit because I was small, and also I had a bit of a temper on me. So people used to try and wind me up to get a bit of a rise out of me, and because I was small, I was a bit easy to pick on. So doing that when I left school, I had a lot of self-confidence issues, so I started lifting weights and then I started playing a little bit of not high level, but like informal rugby with a couple of mates in university. And I played a little bit of rugby as a small kid and a bit of touch football. For those that aren't familiar, like uh, tag football, I suppose
Yep.
where you've got the tags on the side. I played a bit of that in high school, and
No,
I wasn't
I am from North America. Are we talking football or kicking the ball? Like which
rugby,
football?
rugby,
Okay, there we
rugby league. Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah. But it's just got instead of tackling, you've got the tags on the
right.
side. So I played a fair bit of sport as a kid, but I wasn't ever really like that good. I was pretty mediocre.
Mm,
I was quick on my feet, but size was always a bit of an issue. I was always kind of like a skinny fat kid.
okay.
So I left school, started lifting weights, and I got a lot of confidence through that. And I had an accident where I broke my arm, and so I couldn't lift weights anymore. And I was involved in some NGO work over in Cambodia, and that's the
Mm,
first time that I'd really seen Muay Thai live.
okay.
So obviously in Cambodia it's called Kun Khmer.
Right.
So we were in Phnom Penh and we went to this really dusty stadium and I think I was there for about 15 minutes because the people we were with showed us and I was like, wow, this is sick. I'm gonna try this when I get back home. And when I was in high school, my dad got me a punching bag. My grandfather was quite an accomplished boxer back in his day.
Okay,
So he
cool.
used to fight in the Air Force, I believe. I'm not too sure on the story, but he had a lot of fights. and he was quite accomplished, and I'd always sort of wanted to get into that, but wasn't quite sure how. So
Sure.
when I broke my arm, the doctor said, "Look, you should go and do kickboxing or something just to keep yourself active, but don't use that arm." So I went to,
That doctor
yeah, I
doesn't know
went
much
to,
about kickboxing.
no, no, obviously, yeah, yeah. So I went to a gym called Bulldog Manly, which was a Dutch kickboxing gym. And actually, I just waited. I waited for my arm to heal,
Mm,
and yeah, I loved it. I fell in love with it, and I was much more in love with the traditional Muay Thai.
mhm.
They had a few guys there. There's a guy, my friend G, who's actually fighting for a WBC New South Wales title in August. He's one of the first guys I trained with, and he showed me how to clinch, how to kick with beautiful technique. Coming from Taekwondo, I kind of had a good solid base.
Mhm.
And then eventually I had to go to a different gym. I was there for a year. I started training there for a year. And then I moved over to a gym called PTJ, which
Shout
is
out to
run,
PTJ,
yeah, shout out to PTJ, Andy Parnham,
Mr.
who,
Parnham. Yeah,
yeah, if people know him, he's probably one of the driving forces behind East Coast Muay Thai in Australia,
mm.
at least on the lower East Coast. I don't know if he's the head of Muay Thai Australia at the moment, but definitely is a pivotal part of it.
Okay, cool.
So I went over to his gym, and Joe Hongtong, if you know Joe
Yes,
Hongtong,
sir. Yeah.
he was doing a little stint with his brother Jen. They were there for about 3 months. And so I did a couple of privates with them. And PTJ was closer to my university, and I had to move over to my grandma's place while going to uni over that way. So I thought, oh, look, I made the shift over to PTJ and fell in love with Thai style. And about probably 6 months into training with Andy, I had my first fight.
Nice.
I fought on a promotion called Real Hero, which was Andy's promotion, and it was in collaboration with the Thai consulate
Mm.
of Sydney. So it was kind of like one of the early soft power initiatives.
Okay.
So for people don't know, soft power is basically an initiative to promote Thai culture around the world through non aggressive means. So things like arts, culture, food,
Right.
uh, and of course Muay Thai being one of them. So I fought on that card, and I got a round two. I won by round two knockout. I kneed the
Nice.
guy in the face, split his head open. Um, yeah, that was, and then I fell in love with it from there.
So
I
I'm sorry. Sorry
had,
to interrupt. So I'm curious. So that was your first fight, right?
yeah, that was
What
my first fight.
when you saw what damage you caused to somebody, did that affect you at all? Or was that like you said,
Yeah,
wow,
it
I'm now
did.
I'm really excited.
I felt extremely bad, but I think the adrenaline rush. I saw the blood, and I was like, yeah, I like this. I
Sure.
like this.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And so then I had about a month later, I had another fight. So I had another fight, and I got stopped in the second round. I think I got stopped with body shots,
Oh
and
yeah.
I fought this guy who was, I think he'd had like 10 MMA fights or something, and he was like a had a real unorthodox kickboxing style, so it
Mm.
was like not
What
my
you're used to
style.
seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, not what I'm used to seeing, not what I'm used to sparring with. So I just kept going. I kept going. I kept falling in love with the process. I had a pretty decent amateur career. I can't even remember my record. I think it's kind of like 50-50 to be honest.
Sure. How many fights
So
approximately?
around 20 in Australia, and then I had about another 5 or 6 in Thailand.
Okay. So you definitely got
Yeah,
your feet wet, man. Obviously.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it blends into sort of each other.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I had a fairly active amateur career, and then uh, Sorry, I'm trying to remember it all. It all
All good, man.
sort of, yeah, sort of fizzles out. Sometimes it's really interesting about Muay Thai, right? Like I always remember being really active, but then sometimes I can't remember the fights that I've had.
Sure.
And then when I start thinking about different memories, I'm like, oh shit, I fought that guy. That guy was really good, you know,
Right.
and then it starts to all come back a little bit.
Yep. Yep. That's how you know you've been punched in
Yeah,
the head a few times.
I've been knocked out a few times too. I wasn't. This is the other thing. Like I'm fairly transparent in my content
Yeah.
and with my stories that I wasn't ever the best fighter.
Sure.
I fought. I fought a lot, and I got my feet wet, as you said. I fought a lot. I was fairly active. I fought a fair bit here in Thailand, 5, 6 fights, and I fought in Chiang Mai a bit. So up on that tourist circuit and
Mhm.
fought some decent Thais as well. I fought one pretty decent Thai in Australia, Tao, who was at the time, I believe, had just gotten out of prison. I don't know what for, but used to be ranked fairly high in the Lumpini rankings.
Okay.
And yeah, and I got absolutely bashed by him, by the way. I got, yeah, absolutely devastated. I think first round, he kicked me like 4 times on the arm, and then he just went straight in for the kill, a knee to the head, and then 12-6 elbow over the back of the
Yo,
head and stopped the fight in the first round. I was like, yeah, this is,
you
I'm a
looked
bit,
incorrectly at his misses.
yeah. I was pretty out of my depth on that one. But yeah, I fell in love with the process of fighting. My goal wasn't to be a champion, it was to get as much experience as possible. I really wanted to just rack up the numbers.
Why?
So don't know. I initially don't think I had the drive or the will to be a champion.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
be totally honest with you as well. I mean, I'm in the same
yeah,
boat.
yeah. Like I don't think I was really cut out for it. Like I would train hard, but then after fights, I would party really hard.
Nice.
And my weight fluctuation was just terrible. That's why, like, I think it's a big part of why I look the way I look now, and probably why I've fallen out of love with the process is because the weight fluctuation was so high.
Sure.
Because I would fight anywhere between 59 to 63 kilograms. So there's a big variation in
Yeah.
weights there that I would fight at.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of I didn't have a great career. I had an experienced career. Definitely fought enough in Thailand to know what I'm talking about. I fought enough to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I've sort of been there, done that. I fought some good people. I fought some shit people. So yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I haven't fought for I think 8 years, 8, 9 years. It all sort of blends into
Yeah.
grey,
Yeah.
murky colours when I try and get past my CTE, mate.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah. That's basically it.
Nice.
I was tough. I wasn't the smartest fighter. Like I think I'm probably a lot more self-critical than I should be. A lot of people have said like, "Oh no, you were a good fighter. Like you were decent." But I don't think I was. I don't think I was committed enough to the journey of fighting, and I'm fairly honest about that.
Yeah.
I preferred to party, I preferred to eat, I preferred to drink, I preferred the stories. Like I liked the journey and going through the experiences rather than trying to chase the legacy
Sure.
per se.
No, no, to be honest, that sounds very similar to me. My last fight, 300 years ago, I what I recognized is that at about the 10 fight mark, amateur people do over 10 fights are very serious about this. And
Yeah.
and I started to recognize that. And I remember my last fight, like I remember crawling into the ring and looking across and looking at this guy snarling at me. And I remember literally saying to myself, like, wow, that guy looks pissed off at me. And then and this was before, like I'm in the ring and I remember the bell going and literally going like, well, here we go. And I won, but I kind of knew right then, like, I don't think this is for me. These guys are willing to, do what sleep in dirt to become champions. And I knew, like, man, that ain't me.
Nah, I think for me it was a mix of things. I think I started fairly late. I think started fighting around 22, and I think I finished by about 27
Okay.
because it was I think 2017 was my last
So
fight.
that's a short, intense window of getting in 25
Yeah,
fights or
yeah,
so,
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think one year I had 12 or 13 fights.
Holy cow. That's busy.
But to be fair, I did fight on a four man. I fought on a four man, so I remember getting two fights in one night, sort of deal.
Sure.
Um,
But there's still
and
another 11 or 10 to talk about, though. Like,
yeah,
that's still
yeah,
an incredible
exactly.
amount of fights in a year.
Ex yeah, exactly. And then when I used to come to Thailand, I used to try and get as many fights in as possible. I remember fighting twice in the same week in Chiang Mai, which was
Wow.
a really bad idea because I fought the first time and did really well, and then the second time, like 2 days after that first fight, I went on a bender, and then I came back to the gym after partying for 2 days, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to fight?" I was like,
Brr.
"Oh yeah, fuck it, why not?" And then, yeah, I got knocked out in round three. That was bad, and then had beers straight after, so
Oh, good.
not the best brain recovery.
Sure, sure.
So yeah.
What do you find the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Shout out to the little mountain warrior who absolutely diminished my brain health on that one.
What happened in
Because
that fight?
round number one, I was winning. Round number two, I was winning very comfortably. Round number three, I picked up the pace in the clinch. But I used to do this stupid thing well, actually, not stupid because I got taught Sanchai taught me this at a seminar. I used to switch stances and throw the right hook. So I'm orthodox.
Hmm.
I'd switch, throw the right hook, try and wrap it around the neck
Hmm.
to set up my left knee because I had a killer left knee. And I did it a couple of times and landed some good knees on this lad. And then he just timed it where he stepped around and hooked me right on the chin, got just put me out flat for like a minute. And then the boys who were with me in my corner, I think they were telling me afterwards for about 40 minutes, I was asking if I won.
Right. I hear this common story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
what was recovery from obviously that the pretty good knockout. What's recovery from that like? Like was there symptoms and effects after that?
yeah, certainly. I think probably played on my mental health for a long time.
Oh,
Um, Yeah, certainly after that knockout, that was when my career went downhill. Uh, kept getting chinned, kept getting knocked out, kept getting stopped. My heart wasn't in it. Probably my last four fights. I think out of the last four fights, I won one,
okay.
and two of them I think I got knocked out. So my very last fight, you can go and watch on YouTube. It was at Rebellion. I got knocked out by Joe Coverdale in the second round. Just the recovery of my chin, just after that initial knockout, devastating to my career.
Yeah.
Just never really recovered the same. So yeah,
And,
after
and
that,
and you hear that a lot, like
yeah.
maybe it's this time, maybe it's next time, but one of those times when there's a KO, like the chin just doesn't come back.
No, no, and I think a lot of it was weight cuts as well.
I believe, yeah.
I was during that era, and we still see this with a lot of fighters, right? Where there's this kind of bravado about how much weight you can cut.
Yeah.
And I was always priding myself that I had this high walking weight and I could cut down to like 59, like crazy 8 kilo weight cuts.
Mhm.
I'd be dying on weigh-in day, but I'd be like, I made it. Fuck it. Who cares?
Right. Yeah.
Sorry if I'm swearing, by the way.
No, fuck shit, whatever you want, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, definitely after that fight, it had a big impact on the down curve of my career, that's for sure.
Sure. So
So
Sorry, I was just gonna ask. So when you had your last fight, did you know that was your last fight, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No,
okay,
but a few good friends and promoters said you got to stop.
okay,
You got to stop. I had, I still remember this. Pinky Donald. For those who don't know, Pinky is a really good guy. Does a lot for people. He was in my corner and after it, and he says, "Look, we all get losses in Muay Thai, mate, but I don't want to see you getting hurt anymore. I think it's time for you to stop."
nice. I've
And
I've never met I've never met him once, Pinky, by the way. But from what I see, just following him, if there's anybody that's going to consistently be honest and
Mm,
100% of the time, I would say it's Pinky.
yep. And
Yeah,
I still really respect him
nice.
to this day. And another promoter, the promoter from Rebellion, Sainaji, he took me aside as well and said, "Look, mate, you gotta stop doing this to yourself. You're only gonna end up a blubbering mess." And so I stopped. I took time away, and I just focused on being a pad holder.
Mm,
And yeah, I grew into being a very decent pad holder. I eventually moved up to the north of New South Wales where my parents were living. So I went after I finished fighting, I went into a big slump of depression because this is one of the things is as a fighter, you build your life around fighting.
yeah,
You build your character, you build your personality around fighting.
yeah,
And in my content, I often say like you need to have an exit plan because if you don't have an exit plan, you're really going to put yourself through a world of turmoil emotionally, spiritually, mentally, because you put everything into this sport that takes so much but gives so much to you as well.
yes,
But you have to have an exit plan. You have to have some other passion within Muay Thai that can drive you. Otherwise, it can be very, very tumultuous for people. So for me, it was I obviously coming off of a pretty bad knockout. I was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome,
hmm,
probably about for a year, for a
wow,
good year. Yeah, I went and got a CT scan in Sydney, and they said, look, you gotta really take a break from sparring, from any kind of hard activity. So, or high pressure activity.
sure,
So I was going through some drinking issues after that. So I was drinking pretty much every day. I was pretty much an alcoholic after that,
mm,
and I moved up to my mum's, who she lived in the country, and I went and finished my education degree up there. Was teaching up there for about a year, and then I moved to Thailand with the plan to restart my fight career and just fell into life, like fell into teaching,
yeah,
got married, obviously. And then about, can't remember what year it was. It must have been about 2022, I think. Matt Lucas called me up. We'd known each other for a long time from FA group.
hmm,
And he said, "Oh, I seen you've been doing a little bit of content creation." At the time, I was just playing around on TikTok, doing some funny things about teaching in Thailand.
mm,
And then he said, "Would you be interested in getting involved in some commentary and perhaps doing some like Muay Thai content?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Give it a go." I have a background in graphic design and
mm,
that sort of thing, so I thought, you know what, I can use some of my skills and give it a crack. So he put me on Fairtex fight. After the first show, he said, "Mate, you can definitely do this. You
nice,
can definitely do this. You know Muay Thai, you fought enough, you've got good experience, you can help people." So that's essentially what I do now is my goal is just to give people opportunities and to help fighters not make the same mistakes that I have throughout my career.
sure,
And certainly to protect fighters' well-being and their brain health. Like that's a big part of my mission statement is not letting them fall into the same traps that I did during my career. So
Nice.
I know it sounds a little bit sort of like a
No,
noble cause, but essentially I don't want people to go through the same crap that I had to pull myself out of. And it still honestly, for those people who are listening, what they see online, like I look like I'm always living the best life, commentating at Rajadamnern and doing all these amazing things like going to Japan, doing commentary over there.
hmm
Uh, it's hard. It's hard. Like I'm still not comfortable with my physical weight. That's been a really big issue. Coming to live here in Thailand, it's very easy to fall into the trap of drinking heavily
Sure.
and I've just gotten past that. So yeah,
Good for you, man.
people need to know like the demons never stop.
Right.
Thailand is not a quick fix. It's not a quick fix for people. In fact, for people with demons, moving to Thailand can sometimes be the worst thing for them.
And I remember you making a video about that not too
Yeah.
long ago as well. Yes. Don't
Yeah.
don't run away. Your problems, your demons will follow you.
Mm-mm.
First of all, I appreciate your honesty in that, and I try to be the same way, even just with the podcast.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. Nobody's ever taught me anything. I figured it out on my own, but I still am just like much like you. Like I'm just a regular guy. Don't let
Mm.
what Instagram tells you. We only want you to know what Instagram tells you, right? That's
Exactly. Exactly.
just very small part of the story.
Exactly. However, with my social media, I try and be as transparent as possible
Yes.
because I feel it does an injustice to the sport if you are not transparent. So,
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people like, look, I wasn't the best fighter, but I can certainly tell you not what to be.
Yeah. Yes.
If you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to avoid what I was and to steer you in the right direction in terms of career trajectory, how to be a champion, because I certainly know what it takes and I certainly have lived in what it does not take.
Right. 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 Well, and I also like to I teach as well, and students and stuff. Like I always like tell them, like I know we see Liam Harrison and Tawan Chai and all those guys, and yeah, I'm not those guys. I'm the regular guy like you that still has to put in the damn work. I don't have the money. I don't have the backing. I don't have people pushing me. I got to do it like you do. The difference is I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about it. I'm doing it. And yeah, maybe not that great, but I like the idea that with my transparency in that, like, I like that I show that not on purpose, but I want people to know, like, I'm just you. I'm just putting in the
Mm,
work. I'm not anything
mm,
special. But going back, it's funny. You talked about like the fighter identity and going into depression and stuff. And to be honest, that happened to me during. I'm sure a lot of things happened during COVID to people, but that's where I met Kieran, and that's where it was the same thing. He not that he had to tell me to stop fighting. I was long done fighting, but I identified. I've put my whole life into martial arts. My whole life. That's all I got. It's all I know. And I remember during COVID, I was thinking about my left uppercut. Like, who gives a shit? And
mm.
I remember coming to the conclusion on the mats during COVID, like, I got to work on my left uppercut. I'm not liking how it's feeling. And I remember saying to myself, bro, you're not going to fight again. Your left uppercut doesn't mean anything. It doesn't
Mm.
mean anything. And then I remember having that thought and then going, now what the hell do I do with my life? I put my whole life into being the best martial artist in the room. It doesn't matter anymore. Matter of fact, now that I'm getting older, it's only going to go down.
Mm.
And I remember like literally like now that I'm done associating with being the best in the room, the competing, watch your weight. Like I remember thinking like, what the hell do I do with my life now? And then wasn't long after that, I meet Kieran who goes, no, Muay Thai is not who you are. It's just what you do. And then this sentence is the one that got me that for the right reasons sent me down
Mm.
my life like an airplane. And then I had to pick myself back up. Couldn't be more grateful for it. But it was the sentence of Muay Thai is not who you are, it's what you do. And if you don't know who you are, you need to spend a lot of time by yourself. And that rocked my world. That sentence spiraled me because I put my full identity into that. And like you were saying, a lot of fighters do it too. You do need to have an exit plan a side hustle, something, because that chapter is going to come to an end. And although you want to identify, if you want to keep identifying that way, that's fine. But as you keep bringing up your old war stories from 1984, everybody's left you behind. You're still that guy in 1984. Everybody else has carried on, and we all see it. So,
Yeah. And I think, look, there's no problem about being nostalgic and remembering the good old times, but there's
yeah,
got to be a sense of moving beyond that and seeing what you can back, oh, sorry, bring back to the sport.
yeah,
And I think you can still be involved in the sport that you love, not at a fight capacity.
right,
You don't, not everyone is meant to be a fighter.
right,
That's the
right.
thing. And not everyone is meant to be a champion. Like, honestly, the very few become champions. Really, really, really good strength and conditioning coach and content creator, Don Heatrick.
Oh yeah,
All right. I've been following his stuff since the very beginning. Like, he's one of the OGs of like Muay Thai content creation.
yep,
And I remember him doing this post about Thai fighters and how that really, out of the tens of thousands of Muay Thai fighters pre-COVID, there was 10,000 registered Muay Thai fighters
mm,
in Thailand. And if you think about the variation of weight divisions, say there's about what 10, 15 weight divisions, competitive weight divisions,
mm,
you've got a champion in that. What's that? That's like my math is terrible, but I'm gonna say like 1.5%.
yeah,
And they're in Thailand, it's really the genetic freaks really who are able to push through the intense training, the long hours, because it does take wear and tear on your body through the injuries. Because in Muay Thai, well, in Thailand, it's a matter of survival for a lot of Thais. It's
right,
a way out of poverty.
right,
You get one guy who tears his ACL or his meniscus, that's his career gone. He
yeah,
he doesn't have the luxury of rehab like we do in the West.
right,
That's it.
yeah.
The guys who your Tarwan tries, your Rottangs, your
Super like,
Sangmanese,
yeah,
got their physical abnormalities
yeah,
because they're able to break past the circumstances that they've been put through. So
right,
people need to remember that, like, like the top 1%, yes, there's the hard work, but there's also, it's a game of probability here in Thailand
yeah,
as well.
right, right, and which is why we celebrate champions, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like to tell people if we all had it, we would all be champions. That's why we
Mm.
look up to champions because they have
Yeah.
it that we can't relate to. Um,
Yeah.
so so the fighting's done. What now? We what was that like? Like you said, like for example, Pinky talked to you and a few others. Um, when did you come to that? Like you said, maybe try to revive your career in Thailand. When did you come to the hard conclusion that fighting is done for me?
When I got back to Thailand and I tried getting back into training, and I think after the second session, I was like, no, this isn't for
Okay,
me
right
anymore.
away. Hey,
I fell out of love with training. I
yeah,
didn't enjoy it, didn't enjoy hitting pads. By that time, I was far above my walking weight. I think I was when I first arrived back in Thailand, I was about 80 kilos. I used to walk around at like 68. So over the year, over the year that I was up at my mum's, I was still drinking a lot.
mm,
Like functioning,
sure.
functioning. I was a functioning alcoholic.
Hmm.
Um, I was able to go to work every day as a teacher, and then I was able to go and wash dishes in the nighttime at a resort. And then on the weekends, I was teaching Muay Thai at my buddy's gym. I was still able to function, but I was not eating well. I was not sleeping well. I was putting on a lot of weight.
Hmm.
By the time I got back, I was like, "Ah, fuck, I'm just too lazy for this. I don't have the fire anymore.
Yeah,
Uh, the my partner didn't want me to fight, and yeah, I really fell out of love with it. I didn't even want to watch Muay Thai anymore when I first got back.
wow.
I sort of, yeah, it was a hard. time for me to disconnect from the reality of being a fighter. And then when I started teaching, like I met some people at work who were into Muay Thai and trained a little bit. And then they were saying, "Oh, you used to fight, yeah." And I liked the fact that normies, or I
Yeah.
always use the word normies, like
Yeah. Yeah.
non Muay Thai people were like, "Oh, wow, like sick, like you're a fighter." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I was like, yeah, oh, now I
Sure.
start to feel good about myself again."
Right.
But the fighting was done. I
Yeah.
I started approaching like 28, 29. Uh, yeah, but I think by the time I turned 29, I was like, yeah, there's no going back to it for me.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it was a gradual disconnection from that belief that I could regain any sort of foot back in the ring.
Right. Now,
And also
oh, sorry. Oh, please.
I think also the big part of it was the scary prospect of my brain health when I got that CT scan. I was basically told like you can't fight ever again. Like you're gonna really do some
Right.
serious long-term damage if you continue to fight. So I
Right.
thought, oh yeah, I should probably not do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah. For sure.
doctor's orders.
Yes. Um, Similar subject, except with my brain, but even now, I September 2023 tore my ACL meniscus. Very similar to what happened to Liam Harrison versus Long O. And
Yep.
same, the surgeons like, I don't know if you should ever get kicked on that leg again. You might want to think about doing something else. I'm like, whew, that's a hard sentence to hear. But anyway,
Yeah.
but that's for me to deal with later. Um, so how long? I'm curious. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget this question. Wait, how long before you knew that you were done fighting, but maybe you're going to Thailand to maybe look at starting things up again? How long were you looking to go back to Thailand for? Like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to revive my career. How long were you kind of looking at staying at that point?
Indefinitely, because I had my teaching degree and I had a couple of years of teaching experience behind me. So I knew that if it didn't work out, I could always just become a teacher.
Okay.
So, and I was very lucky in the fact that I come from a family of teachers. Both my parents were school principals,
Oh, okay.
very responsible people. Um, And they said to me, look, basically get your Masters of Education and then you can do whatever you want after that. So I'm glad that I listened to them,
Yeah.
because I nearly dropped out of my education degree like 3 times because I just wasn't into it. I was much more into Muay Thai. This is during when I was like peak of my fight career.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that I had that behind me. Um, but yeah, my thoughts were that I was going to move indefinitely. I'd always loved Thailand as a destination to live, because what happened with me, like many other people, is they do one trip and then they do another trip and it gets a little bit longer. And I eventually get into where I started staying like 3 months, 4 months.
Right.
And yeah, and then I eventually just said to myself, look, I'm gonna give it a crash shot go, see if I can restart my fight career. I went over on a 2000 end of December 2018 is when I made the move over. I came in on a 6 month tourist visa and saved up about 20,000 Australian dollars
Nice.
behind me. And I started training a little bit, and then after the second session, yeah, it was just like, nah, I'm just holiday mode. And then eventually my visa started to run out. So I was like, oh shit, I should probably get a job. Ended up getting a teaching job it's in a place called Mimberi, which is right near Luxai Kong Din Gym,
Mm.
where Rottung lives and Doing Dao Noi and
Mhm.
that the whole family there, the Luxai Kongdin family. So if people know Bangkok, it's East Bangkok, a very big Muslim area. I was living in Lat Phrao. Well, I still live in Lat Phrao, which is kind of central North Bangkok, and I would travel 40 minutes to work. And then I met a teacher at work who was a little bit into Muay Thai. A couple of he had a couple of MMA fights back in England, and then he wanted to fight over here. So I said, "Oh, look, um, yeah, look, I'll corner you." And then I took him to Asia Teak, just a low level fight, cornered for him, and then I fell in love with the process of helping and training people again. And then thought, "Oh, you know what? I don't have to completely give it up, Muay Thai in general."
Hmm.
And then I think not maybe a year after that, that's when Matt rang me, and I was like, "Yeah, cool, we'll give it a go." And then fell in love with the sport again,
Nice, nice.
and yeah, really, I think from an outside role, really blossomed and really grew into that.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
Uh, yeah,
And like
so
you said, there's a while, like 5 minutes ago or so. There's life after fighting, and I try to
yeah,
tell that to my people too. When you don't want to fight anymore, you don't have to leave the sport. There's life after fighting. I commentate. I do the Muay Thai World Cup for Kieran Kettle. Done a few other things. I run the podcast. I'm teaching. Like there's life after fighting, and if anything, like you said, kind of just giving back. I mean, listen, would I love somebody to pay me 3, 4, $19 million to do this? Absolutely, I'll accept every dollar coming my way. However, aside with that, this is me trying to give back to the Canadian Muay Thai community. I want to help push the Canadian Muay Thai community. I want to interview the fighters and interview people like you. Like for the same thing, I want to give back to the sport.
yeah.
Of course, I would like to do it for me as well, but I want to do it for what Muay Thai and my community means to me. A quick question though: after you decided after your second session of that, man, I don't want to do this. Was there a mental pivot like? Okay, shit. I was planning on doing this for like 5, 10 years. I guess I'm gonna like you said, you kind of had a vacation mode. Was the vacation mode a sense of you not sure what you wanted to do, or did you know once you, man, this training session ain't going, I'm no fighter anymore? Was there like a I have to make a pivot, or was there vacation mode and then like almost urgency, like oh shit, I got to
No,
do
I
something?
think I think it was almost like I think it was almost like this isn't for me anymore.
Hmm.
Fuck it, everything's in the air, and it was like kind of that subconscious self-sabotage of like I'm too scared to get back in the ring. Fuck it, let's just go, supernova party mode,
Okay,
and just did that for 4 months, and I was like, oh well, there's no going back now. So it was kind of I think it was a sense of being scared of stepping back in there,
yeah,
but also I think I'm done with this, and you know what? I don't regret the decision at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
I
Good,
really don't regret the decision because I think if I went back in, my heart wouldn't be there. I think I would get seriously hurt and potentially would maybe like potentially irreversible, very, very irreversible damage to
right,
myself.
right,
Not just physically, but I think mentally as well. I don't
sure.
think there'd be any coming back from that.
I really appreciate
And
this
I'm
this honesty, man. But everyone talks punch kick. I really appreciate this. Really.
no, it's good. I mean, I'm honest in all my content anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I think it's important because I often say to people, you can use me as a case study of what not to do
Mm,
in terms of fight career, and that's why I think I've been able to position myself in a place. I so somebody the other day called me a voice of authority in Muay Thai, and I was like, nah, nah, don't call me that. I just want to help people, and I think maybe I am in a position to speak, maybe better than others because I've lived the other end of the spectrum
right.
in fighting of what not to do.
Right.
So I can actually bring that back around and tell people the right path, you know?
Yes. Yeah, good call.
So,
Good call.
you
So where
know,
did so this the fight stuff, it's done and dusted. You've come to
mhm.
terms with it. You know it's over. Where did where did commentating come in and content creation? Where did this shift of your life happen? And let's hear about that. I mean, from my point of view, again, according to what Instagram tells me, seems to be going pretty damn well. Um,
Um,
let us in on that.
so as I said, Matt Lucas was really like my foot in the door.
Right.
He and I'm ever forever grateful to him for really like reigniting my spark and passion for Muay Thai and the sport. He gave me the first tryout on Fairtex Fight
Mm.
for commentary. And then, as I said, he said, "Wow, man, you can really do this. You can definitely do this. So I'll give you more opportunity." And then from doing that, more things snowballed, more opportunities. So I think I did 6 months every Saturday with him.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Um, well, I've actually been with Fairtex Fight from the very beginning of my commentary career. I think it's only been like 3 years now, but I I don't I don't call the fights as much because there's a bit of a bigger team. Like he's developing new talent and all that sort of thing, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We always need more voices in the scene. But it was me and him for probably a good 2 years. But 6 months, I think, after 6 months with him, somebody contacted us to do prison fight. So we
Oh
did,
yeah. Nice.
yeah, we did prison fight at the Korat Correctional Facility. That
Dude,
was
how was
pretty.
that? How was that to just be in there doing that?
Oh, dude, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. The fights were like, I'll be honest, the fights weren't amazing.
Sure.
But it was awesome to see like the prisoners were loving it. They were loving it, like cheering from the. They weren't. There was like it was really interesting. Basically, they had a ring set up on their like recreational area, their basketball court, and then that backed onto like a building full of cells.
Okay.
But in Thailand, the cells aren't like singular cells like in North America or Australia. They're basically big scout halls where they like probably 40 to 50 people sleep in them.
Oh
So they're
yeah. Yeah.
hot.
Cramped.
If anybody's ever seen A Prayer Before Dawn and you see where they're all sleeping on the floor,
Yeah.
that's what Thai prisons look like.
Yikes.
The Korat, by the way, the Korat prison is like really nice because it's an agricultural prison. So it's for like uh people on sorry. Oh,
Bless you.
woo! Sorry, bro.
All good.
It's for people on low end sentences like drug possession or
Got you.
misdemeanors, that sort of thing. But it was kind of crazy to see a ring in the middle of this basketball court and then this kind of old shabby building where there were all these people watching from the windows and then they had like the crowd were all the prisoners on like good behavior and stuff. It was pretty cool. And it
Nice.
was awesome to see that the prisoners were like really taking pride in the sport. They were really taking a lot of pride in their teammates.
Okay.
And it was like a really special day. Like it kind of opened my eyes in seeing them as more human rather like a really humanizing experience for me because
Okay.
you always think like not everybody thinks this but you always sort of had this mentality about prisoners oh they deserved it that's why you're in there because you did something bad
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
seeing the aspect or through the lenses of sports you could see it was a sport that brought everybody together and w any these people are humans with stories and families and that's what I love about this sport is that everybody's got their own story that they bring to it and
Yeah.
these guys are just another story that they bring to the ring, it's
Yeah.
just the fact that this is a way for them to gain their freedom and there were some good fights. I remember there was a young French guy, I think his name's Amare. He's fought at Raja a couple of times, and
Mm.
that was a pretty sick fight to watch. But it was good fun. Like it was a really fun show to call. And then
Yeah. Cool experience.
after, yeah, yeah, really cool experience. If real prison fights are listening to this, please get me back on there because that was a really awesome experience, and I'd love to do it again.
Nice.
They After that. then I commentated. I got called up by a guy called Ali McOney. I don't know if you know that name,
I
but
don't.
he's an English guy who's a commentator on LWC Super Champ.
Okay. Yeah.
Really good dude. So I met him. Really funny story. I met him at a sauna in Bangkok, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh, are you Joe Comerford?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Oh, I've heard really good things about you and your commentary on Fairtex fight. Would you like to help me out with IFMA, doing the
Nice.
commentary for IFMA?" I said, "Yeah, mate, I'd love to." So we did a week. This was years ago. I can't even remember, like 2.5, 3 years ago. We did a week at IFMA where we were calling 40 fights in a day.
Yo.
And wow, really, did I get my reps in then?
Yeah. No
Uh,
kidding.
so that was a cool experience. And then more and more things started to snowball. I started getting more involved in doing media and trying to build my page up. So I started doing more fighter
I'm
interviews.
sorry. I'm sorry to
Yep.
interrupt. When you say that, like I started kind of beefing up my profile. Was that on purpose? Like you recognized what was happening? Like, okay, man, I got to get myself out there a little more, or were you just kind of working on it?
No, that was actually under direct Matt's advice. When Matt made that initial phone call, he said, "Here's what you should do. You should do go and do interviews. You should try and be a Muay Thai influencer." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a crash hot go." And it's been a really slow build. Like
Yeah.
now, my IG has only got 11K, and
Only, huh?
that's been a 2, 3 year journey, but it's been really nice organic growth.
Right.
It's not been like trying to do viral stuff or follow
Yeah.
trends. It's literally content that I would want to see. Because people often say like, "How do you get your ideas?" And I'm just like, dude, I do content that I would like to see. I don't do it for any or follow any particular model.
Yeah.
Where obviously, like, if I see something work, like recently the carousels, they've been working,
Yeah.
but generally things go through waves. If like the in the world of Muay Thai videos don't do well, I'll leave them for a while and I'll come back to them.
I see.
But
Okay.
yeah, it was really Matt who said, "Oh yeah, you should try and use some of your skills." So I started doing a bit of videography. I did a course on videography online. I had a background in photography. I did a bit of
Mhm.
wedding photography in Australia, so I've kind of
Cool.
got some skills already.
Right.
And then after the IFMA thing, I started doing more interviews, and I think it was can't remember if it was Ali or I think it was Ali McOney who said, "Oh, come and do interviews at one." So I started doing a few interviews in the back room at one championship, and then I started to get noticed a little bit more. And then after that, I started going to Raja, and I started doing photography and videos at Rajadamnern every single Saturday. So
Okay. Nice.
I I'd do Fairtex fight, and then I'd go home, sleep, and then I would go straight to the stadium at Rajadamnern and just do photos, videos,
Nice.
and just I did that every Saturday for like a year and a half. And then eventually I built a relationship with Rajadamnern, and then obviously things snowballed from there. But before that, I went on a trip to Australia. So yes, it must have been 2 years ago. So I went on a trip to Australia and I got back from the airport and I was with my missus and Ali called me and he said, "Oh, Joe, can you do commentary for a show down at Omnoy? Because I can't do it. I've got LWC Super Champ." And I was like, "Yeah, mate, I'd love to." So before that, I'd done a little bit of boxing commentary with my mate Jimmy,
Mhm.
who's an English lad here who does boxing commentary. So we went down to Omnoy every Saturday afternoon and did the SKS Empire
Mm.
Yapet 5 round show
Right.
down there. and I think we did about 25 shows down there, and that was a really good experience as well.
No kidding.
And I really tried to build that up, but the audience retention for five Muay Thai in the West just isn't there. Um, it certainly takes a certain fan to really, really follow it.
Right.
Like, okay, anybody, you get a lot of guys who will say, I love 5 round Muay Thai, I love traditional Muay Thai, but they don't follow it.
Right.
Like, they'll say, oh, yeah, I love it more.
But
Yeah,
it is getting
do,
harder to,
do
I mean,
you?
I was gonna say it's getting easier to follow, but it's also getting harder to follow because there's less of it. At least that we can see visible online.
No, there is. There's less of it. So I think it was. See a boat pet indie came out with a statistic. He did an interview with Antoine Pinto.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact number, but basically I think there was about 8,000 registered Muay Thai gyms before COVID, and now there's only 853.
What? This far
Yeah,
this far out of COVID.
yeah. And
Out
I
of
think
COVID.
on other podcasts, I think I might have said a bigger number, but I think it might have been
That's
something
10%.
around like eight. Yeah, I think there was like a big 90% down crash in
Oh,
in the Muay Thai industry. So yeah, like COVID absolutely devastated Muay Thai.
yeah.
The other thing is that all the fighters went back to their home provinces and just went to work.
Right.
They're like, yeah, we need to help out our families. We can't fight anymore, so we'll just go back to work. And a lot of those fighters haven't come back.
Forced
Like the
retirement.
talent the talent pool has been devastated in Thailand. Like there's not nearly as many Thai fighters at all. And also the level of talent too. It's just not there anymore. Like Channel 7, Channel 7, I honestly believe like Channel 7 is the best to watch in terms of like trying to understand Muay Thai.
Hmm.
It has the best Muay Thai, the hands down.
Okay.
But even now, like now, the level of what it used to be is nowhere near.
Is
And
that
you
just because
see,
of COVID, or do you think there's another reason for that?
I think it's the lack of talent pool. I
Yeah.
think because there's less volume of athletes, I think that means there's less to choose from. And also, if you look like recently, there's been more foreigners on Channel 7 than there ever has been.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think in the last like 2 years, there's probably been like 15 foreigners who have fought on Channel 7. Whereas before, like it might happen once every 2 years.
Right, right. People
You
fighting
know,
in Lumpini, Rajadamnern way more often, like on their
yeah,
first,
way
second,
more
third
often.
fight.
But Channel
Yeah.
7 was virtually unheard of for foreigners to fight on.
So,
So
so, okay. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. I always want to be corrected if I don't have my facts right. So, or not even a fact, opinion, I guess. But so we often hear the rise of Western Muay Thai. They're starting to catch up to the Thais. But you just said we just lost a massive chunk of talent pool. So, do you think that
mm,
although there is a rise of Western talent, it's also the drop of the Thai
a hundred
style as well?
percent, a
Okay,
hundred
okay,
percent. I put this question out when Sandro Bossi, if you know who Sandro Bossi is, the first foreigner to ever win a Channel 7 belt.
okay. Yeah.
The young French boy,
Yes, I know who you're talking about
who,
now. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
His
looks like he's
name's
12 years
Alex.
old.
Yeah, yeah.
He looks
His
so young.
name's he's like 14, 15.
I was pretty much
His
that right
name's
on.
yeah, yeah. His name's Alex Singmawin
Right.
or Alex Singmawin Yodyut. So when he won that, I made a post on Facebook and I said, is this the rise of the foreigner, or is this a case of that there's a lack of talent? And the responses were varied, but basically, the general consensus amongst the kind of experts and guys that have been in the industry in Thailand for a long time was that yeah, it was basically COVID killed it,
Mm.
and all the fighters went back to their home village.
Yeah.
And since then, there just hasn't been the grassroots development. There hasn't been any investment in, well, not a lot of investment in building children. Um, so the other thing is like the ecosystem, or at least the shape of Muay Thai here in Thailand has changed as well.
Hmm.
It's more suited to Muay Thai tourism rather
Yeah,
than the actual fight ecosystem.
I get it.
So basically, the focus of the gyms now is to get foreigners in and to get them fighting on either the tourist circuit or at Rajadamnern,
Yeah,
because that's where they'll make their money because the fighters don't make them their money.
right. Right.
So
We're
yeah,
paying to come and train with you.
yep,
And
exactly.
give us a number and we'll pay. Um, that's interesting. And coming out of COVID, I don't know. I can just speak for Canada. Well, no, I can speak for North America in this sense. It's very much turned into the opposite. There's been a massive focus on bringing up juniors, like a
Yeah.
big focus on juniors and bringing them up, which obviously I'm very happy to see. Um, how do you like? Let me speak for me first. So commentating. I did a couple like videos, and shout out to my buddy Scott Viscomi. He used to be a Adidas combat sports director. Met him in I went to this thing called the Las Vegas Fight Tour. And so I got to go to Mayweather's gym, Randy Couture's gym, Vanderlei Silva's gym. And in my mind, because I'm such a fight nerd, I'm thinking there's going to be 17 buses rolling up to these gyms. And a limo comes and picks us up, and we get in.
Mhm.
It's me, my wife, and Scott, and like two other guys. I'm like, "Where's the buses?" And they're like, "No, this is it." And I'm like, "Man, okay, this is pretty cool." Um, anyway, so I stayed in contact with Scott. He came to Calgary, where I'm from. We did a little video, and he said, stop this video." And he goes, "That's great. You're good at Muay Thai. I can see that. Why aren't you using your voice?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I teach." And he's like, "No, man, you should be doing this more." So I thought, oh, and Kean Cowley as well. I'm not sure if you know Kean
Yeah.
from Ireland. Yeah, so I got to meet him a few times, and of course, you have a couple wobbly pops, and he kept wanting to record me. Oh, you sound like Mauro Ranello. You gotta talk on here and tell my friends I met Mauro Ranello. I'm not comparing myself at all with that voice, by the way. Um, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna. So I asked Kieran, hey man, can I commentate? And before I even got it out of my mouth, yep, take a seat. So I'm too excited as a commentator. I'm such a fight fan that of course I love my family and my kid, of course they keep me present, but there's no other time that there could be 10,000 people in the room and I have no idea. I am so in the moment when I'm commentating. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite thing to do. What's commentating now? Again, like I said, I get so excited. Sometimes I lose my mind. Made a video on YouTube the 6 times I lost my mind commentating. Um, how do you like commentating? What's it like for you?
I love it. I love it. I think it's probably a little bit for me. I feel like a bit of an actor, so I kind of have a character when I'm commentating.
Yes.
I like right now I'm quite docile. I mean, I've just taught an 8 hour day as well,
Sure.
so
You're going to bring
I'm
the
a
level
I'm a
down.
little bit more docile now.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I certainly fall into using a powerful voice. I've got a very powerful voice. I mean, teaching has really helped me, like being
Yeah,
a school
I bet.
teacher.
I bet.
Certainly helps me with my public speaking. I probably don't sound very articulate now, but it's also because I teach 6 and 8 year olds
Right. That
if
takes a lot of energy.
and I teach 32 of them too. So
Yo.
yeah, so I'm pretty knackered. But
In saying that, man, I
yeah, I love
just
it.
looked
I
at the
love
time. We're at an hour and 9 minutes. I'm so sorry. I'll take up maybe 5 more minutes of your time.
no, keep going, keep going. I'm easy.
Awesome.
Uh, it's yeah, I love it. I love it. I love being able to just talk about the sport that I love.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, it's fun. A lot of
That's
people
just it.
say, "Oh, it must be tiring," because now I do 3 shows a week. I do
Right.
Fairtex Fight, I do RWS, and I do SKS
Understand.
Empire at Rajadamnern on the Sunday. So I love it. Like I live for it. Like for
Nice.
me, Saturday and Sundays I live for.
Nice.
It gives me something to think about outside of work. It gives me, I like researching the fighters
Yeah.
because people will know this that I don't have the best memory of weight divisions and who's in what weight
Me too.
division.
Me too. Yeah.
That's why I have Aaron. That's why I have my other
Right.
co-commentators because they're much better
At the
at that
stats.
than yeah, the stats than myself, but
Yeah, nice.
I think I'm a fairly good play-by-play. I could
Mhm.
do color as well, but I think play-by-play I'm decent enough, and I understand the sport well enough and scoring well enough. The
Yeah.
best thing I ever did was a WBC scoring course. And
Okay.
that's why I tell fighters that they should, because honestly, doing a scoring and refereeing course is the best thing that you can do for your fight career.
Good
To
call.
understand why you're winning, understand why you're losing fights. And also for commentators, understand what the fuck you're actually talking about.
Yes. Yes. No, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. Many people have the voice and the knowledge, but very few have both.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people have the gift of the gab,
Yeah.
but they don't really necessarily have the IQ to be able to back up what they're saying.
Right.
And we all know of commentators like that.
Yeah, you bet. Check out
So,
this Muay Thai fight. You
yes,
know?
yes. There's no, I won't get into it. I won't get into
Don't
it
worry.
because
Don't get yourself in trouble.
no, no, no. I won't get into it
All good.
because
All good.
yeah, I don't. I'm not here to beef with people.
Yeah, no,
But
please.
yeah.
But in saying that, this is a question I had. Now, you're pumping out content. And in my opinion, the more opinion you give on a specialized thing, what I'm finding out is the more people want to comment. Do you
Yes.
do you get any hate and anything like that? And if so, does it affect you?
Not at all. Not at
Good,
all,
good.
because I feel like if I do get hate, then that's somebody else's problem. Like
Yeah,
Kieran actually said this to me. He was talking about somebody else who was opening a gym and he gave them advice and he said, like, if you're going to be in Muay Thai, you have to be comfortable with not being liked.
good call.
And that's the reality. When you start to become sort of a profile of someone in this sport. Not saying that I'm someone, but
I'm
definitely I've
saying you
got
are.
a bit. Oh, thank you, sir. I've definitely got a bit of a following now. Not everyone's gonna like you.
Yeah,
Not everyone's gonna like your commentary either.
that's right.
That's a reality. Like in the
Yeah.
comment sections on some of the streams, I always check the comments
Mm,
because I like to have a little bit of to and fro with some of the people
yeah.
commenting and say, oh, like a shout out to this person. They think the fight's going this way, but I might disagree with them because of these reasons.
Hmm.
And then there's a little bit of to and fro, and sometimes give them a bit of a shout out. That's what. Hey, luckily we're on the shout out podcast.
Hey yo.
So yeah, you just have to be comfortable with not being liked, and I think that's a reality of life. And for someone like myself who has spent their life being a people pleaser, that's been a big pill for me to swallow. Yeah, right.
That's me.
So I think you just have to get past that.
Yeah.
And especially, there's one that I got a lot of hate for in my inbox was there was two posts I did about grifting in Muay Thai.
Hmm.
And because of the popularity and the expansion of Muay Thai, there's certain people who are coming into our sport with the not the worst of intentions, but to take,
Hmm.
and try and make as much money off it as possible without actually giving back.
Story as
And
old as time.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean it's in boxing as well, right?
Everything. Yeah.
So I made two posts about grifting in Muay Thai or how do I identify grifters in Muay Thai. And then the amount of hate I got in my inbox was crazy. I think I got like 200 messages
All
from the
grifters.
video I
All
did.
grifters.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Who the fuck are you to tell me? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then apparently my last one that I did upset, I think there was one that I did about, let me just have a look. Oh, yeah, it was about fighting on tourist stadiums and claiming you're a stadium champion.
Hmm.
So there's a bit of a trend at the moment, and this has been around since the dawn of the tourist stadiums, where fighters can fight a tuk-tuk driver or they can fight a non-serious Thai. The Thai doesn't necessarily take a dive, but they tend to not fight back
Yes.
after around round three.
Yeah.
So you basically you pay for the tour. you pay for the stadium built, and then there's a whole bunch of guys and girls that are putting in their Instagram bios like whatever, whatever stadium champion.
Yeah.
Look, unless you're Omnoy, unless you're Rajadamnern, or unless you're uh yeah, really like Omnoy, Channel 7 or Rajadamnern, stop, bro. Like
Right.
just don't because it really takes away from the guys who have put in the graft, guys like Topic, guys like
Yeah.
Jalil Barnes,
Yes. Yes.
Sandro Bossi, the real
Yeah.
foreigners who have won belts.
Yeah. Getting
And
their
then
teeth cut the hard way.
you're saying that you're a stadium champion? Get fucked. Like get fucked. Like seriously.
Yeah.
You're a fucking wet hanky, dude. Like
There you go.
stop.
And I've
Um
told two people, as a matter of fact, too, hey, I won this stadium thing. And I said, I just want you to know that the second you got on the plane, the next guy fought for your belt. You do know that, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. You're just another promotional tool on like a crappy
right,
stadium card. So
right.
Um, people have sent me like photos of guys standing in a gym full of trainers with their belts, and I'm just like, oh man, come on, like
Yeah.
you're better than that. And it is grifting because what they do is they go back to their home countries, they have seminars, they're teaching stuff that may not work.
Right.
And this is the thing that rubs me the wrong way is that you're going back to your country and you've got the audacity to teach people techniques that won you the stadium title, but you're putting people's safety on the line. You
Mm.
may be it's negligence. You may
Yes.
be
Yeah.
teaching people the wrong thing. Okay, maybe it did work, but what if it doesn't?
Yeah.
What if there's that off chance, that small probability that it doesn't work, and
Right.
then you're liable for the next generation of Muay Thai fighters?
Right.
That's my issue with it.
Sure. Or the other way, you made it work, and that is the small probability. The giant probability is it's not going to work next time.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah, for
yep,
sure.
100%. So, yeah, that's my little kind of old man gripe is the
It's all
uh
right,
the
man. I got
tourist
lots.
stadium champs. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Um
Yeah, no worries. What do you have a show that you prefer to commentate more than others?
Obviously, like for me, RWS was the dream
Yeah,
coming
man.
in.
Nice.
Like it's always been my favorite promotion
Nice.
since its inception. I think it's really the best entertainment Muay Thai platform. A lot of
Mm.
people, yeah, there's always this discussion. One's better than RWS. RWS is better than one.
Five
For
rounds, three
me,
rounds. Small gloves,
yeah,
big
yeah,
gloves. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Small gloves, big gloves, whatever.
Yeah.
For me, RWS is the best representation of traditional Muay Thai going going into entertainment Muay Thai.
I agree. I agree.
So that's my personal opinion.
Me too.
And for me, it's been my dream to work with the team, and I love working with the team. They are the most supportive guys of me. It's been a hard task to get
Sure.
to get in there, and now that I'm there, I work hard.
There you
So
go.
I'm working hard to keep it.
Well, and you know what they say, man, an overnight success takes about 10 years at least. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So
well, I can tell you
so
too that watching you go through this, I saw you some of the content and watching you go through this. I remember, man, like I said, I mean, I saw you Saturday on my TV. I try to watch One Championship Friday mornings. At least in Canada here, I try to watch RWS Saturday mornings. And I remember, man, seeing you on my TV and being like, because I want, listen, if I had my way, if Genie came, you get one wish only, besides the obvious $1 million, live forever, be handsome, and all that stuff. It would be I want to commentate for a living. I would love to do that for my whole life, and so I'm a little
yeah.
sensitive to that. So I admit, in a positive way. So I admit, when I saw you on the RWS, I was like, no fucking way, well done. Like, damn, that's what I want to do. So I remember seeing you there, man, and I was from the other side of the planet. I was proud for you because it's a similar journey. I'm trying to put out content for the podcast. I teach and all that stuff, but I really like this side of it. And like you mentioned, man, the more you do it, there's some haters that come your way for sure. But I also remind myself, I'm the one who's 130 plus podcasts in. I'm the one who's out there in the crowd doing the commentating thing. Like, you can talk shit all you want, but I'm out there doing it. So Piss off.
Yeah, and that's what I have to remind myself because I suffer from a bit of like Catholic guilt or kind of imposter syndrome. I grew up in a really Catholic family, and
Mhm.
I try not to talk about it too much, but I'm still kind of a practicing Catholic
Sure.
in my personal life, but certainly Catholic guilt is a real thing, but also kind of that the Catholic culture of, you always got to be humble, it's all about
Yes.
humility.
Yes.
But sometimes I've got to like remind myself like, fuck dude, you worked hard here to get it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people always tell me like you deserve this opportunity more than so many others.
Yeah.
Roll with it and remind yourself why.
Right.
And I'm
You put
so
yourself here. You did it. It wasn't a fluke. You did this.
no, no, no. I was at this. People don't realize, like, I was at the stadium every single Saturday night for a year and a half.
Right.
I would do Fairtex fight, Omni for 6 months of this. It was up at 8 in the morning, go to Lumpini, do a show there, then drive an hour and a half, 2 hours down to Omni because it's super far. People don't realize this. Omni is super far.
Hmm.
It's about an hour and a half from Bangkok.
Oh,
Go
okay.
down there, rush back up to Rajadamnern, take photos, get home at midnight. Then I would do tutoring all Sunday. Like,
Yikes.
yeah, yeah.
It's
So I was like,
nonstop. Yeah.
non-stop pro because I'm trying to balance this
Yeah.
with saving money, being an adult. Like I'm
Having a
coming
life.
on to yeah, having a life,
Yeah.
trying to keep my missus happy, make
Yeah.
sure that she's well fed because Thai people love to eat. I'll give
Right.
you that much. So that's a main priority is making sure that there's food on the table. So
Yeah.
like a lot of people don't realize I work 7 days a week,
Right.
not only just Muay Thai and then pumping out the content as well. So
Right.
I do it for you guys. I do it for people like yourself. And I mean, I could almost cry because I'm so grateful for the support that I get. Because the other thing is, I don't really make that much money. I only make money from commentary. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like zero dollars from any content whatsoever.
Right.
It's mainly just like a passion project, really.
Right.
But
Right. Well,
yeah.
and only recently I've become comfortable. Me and you sound very similar personality wise. I've
Mm.
only recently become comfortable saying I'm also doing this is for me too. I'm doing this for me. Like
Yeah.
like before it's I don't want to, but hell yeah, I'm doing this for me too. I want to do for everybody, but me. I feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I won't take up too much more time. And first of all, in saying that, 7 days a week, you're all over the place. I really do appreciate you taking more than an hour of your time here.
No, no,
Um,
it's awesome, mate. Like I'm sweet to talk. Like I'm not in a rush or anything. If you want to keep going, I'm easy. I'm
oh
happy to
man,
talk about Muay Thai and the journey. So yeah, basically that's it at the moment. Like I'm at RWS, SKS. So with SKS, I do a little bit more than just the commentary. Do I got asked by the guys there to help out with some of the matching. So
cool.
I don't do the exact matchmaking, but I
Right,
do talent. I basically do talent scouting. So I go and find fighters and
cool.
try and get like semi decent guys on the cards. But for me, I really want to use that opportunity to help grow certain fighters. So I look for guys who are kind of experienced amateurs or just beginning their pro careers or kind of
So
mid-tier
you're scouting.
mid-tier yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, mid-tier athletes. And yeah, it's been really good. Like I've had some really, really happy with some of the guys that I put on there. If anybody check out this fight, Eddie Fotek uh, versus Damien Thorne from two Australian fighters. They actually fought each other just on chance. Eddie Fotek's fighter, I think there was a mix up with the weight, so they eventually had these two Aussie boys fight each other. The best fight I think we've had on SKS, an absolute
Hmm.
mayhem of elbows and blood. Crazy,
I'm on it,
crazy.
man.
So,
I'm on it. I'm gonna watch it.
so yeah.
Um,
Definitely
for
check out SKS on Sunday evenings. this is
Oh
Thai
yeah.
time,
Yep.
8 p.m. It's a free stream. You'll see the next like come up and coming talent. We've had some of the guys, the prelim guys on RWS, have been scouted from the SKS show, and some of those guys have because yours truly. So that
Attaboy.
was pretty. I was pretty happy with that. That was pretty cool.
Nice. So for us, that'd be
Um,
Sunday morning. There you go. Fights Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. There you go.
yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
like me as a
You've
20-year-old
man,
going to a nightclub Friday night,
how
Saturday night, Sunday night.
crazy is it now though? Like before, say 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to watch that much. Like maybe
Yeah.
Thai fight, and that's really about it.
Yeah,
But
that's what I did. I
now,
used to watch. Yeah.
yeah, now we're so spoiled for choice.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love it. I love it. Um, when this is all said and done, or not even, where do you want this to go? Like just I don't even know if it's commentary or content creation, but just the whole package. Where would you if you got your way,
Ideally,
where do you want this to end up?
I want to get into promotion.
Wow, okay. In Thailand?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool, cool.
I would love to get into promoting. I there there was some talk. There was some talk from some people about getting me involved in promoting, but it hasn't. It's one of these things about Thailand is until you see it, it happens.
I see.
But there was some talk of getting me involved in some promoting. But what I really want to do is I basically want to build amateur pathways for fighters here.
Hmm,
And I also want to create a promotion for low level guys here in Bangkok because we don't really have that.
yeah.
We have guys that fight on knockouts sometimes,
Okay.
and I feel like my personal opinion is that Rajadamnern is such a sacred place that it really should be protected for guys who have done their time a little bit.
Agreed.
And really, in Bangkok, we don't really have that. So I would love to get into promoting and building up the next generation of novices and amateurs. Obviously, in Bangkok, at under professional rules, because I think the headgear and all that sort of stuff actually does more damage
Hmm,
than good.
okay.
But I understand, some commissioning bodies and all that stuff want to
Right.
see people in the transformer suits and all that. But
Right.
personally, it's not for me. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I would love to get into promoting and
Cool.
build amateur guys up. I think grassroots Muay Thai is really needed here.
Yeah.
We have obviously on the Thai side of things, right? You have the provincial circuit, you have the kids shows out in the provinces, but I
Mhm.
think in Bangkok that's what we're lacking
Hmm,
is a real kind of stepping stone for foreigners who do their first trip to Thailand and they want to get the fight experience,
yeah.
but really they have to travel all the way to Pattaya or Hua Hin,
Yeah.
which is 3 hours away. There's nothing really like that in Bangkok, and I would
Hmm,
love to really do something like that because
good
I'm
call.
quite
Yeah.
passionate about building the next generation and
Right.
giving guys and girls opportunities. One of the other issues is that I would love to have a stadium have consistent female matches
Hmm,
every night of the week.
cool.
That's what I would love to get involved in promoting is a female circuit here in Bangkok because at the moment the opportunities still aren't quite there for females in Bangkok. So really like you've got a few avenues. You've got Fairtex Fight kind of for like your maybe lower tier, mid tier girls,
Hmm.
and then you've got LWC Super Champ, maybe that little bit higher, and then above that you've got RWS prelims,
Hmm.
and then the other side of that is for your bigger names, one championship
Hmm.
or one Lumpini. So
Right.
really, that's all there is in Bangkok.
Okay.
You will get the odd promoter doing a full female card, but they're very few and far between.
Right. So
And
the
I think
opportunity for females is super competitive.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
super competitive. And in terms of the best kind of female scene, I think, well, for being active, really is still Chiang Mai.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like that's where the most active female circuit is at the
Oh,
moment, is in
cool.
Chiang Mai, up north. Like girls could fight up there every day of the week if they wanted
Wow.
to.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe the islands as well, but for me, like if I were to tell girls from overseas to go and fight in Thailand, I go to Chiang Mai,
Stay out of
go straight
Bangkok.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, stay out of Bangkok until you've built yourself a little profile and maybe you want to get onto like the entertainment promotions
Right.
and build a bit more sort of content and bigger opportunities for yourself. Um, they do now that they do have, I think, one night a week on Raja Knockout where they might have one female fight.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if you remember old Super Champ, not LWC Super Champ, but
Yeah, a
Super
little bit.
Champ on
Yep.
Channel 8. That was helped run by a Muay Thai marketing company called Louis Muay Thai, LUI Muay Thai.
Okay.
And they're the promoters, they're the matchmakers and promoters for I think the Tuesday night show at um Rajadamnern, and they do have like one female fight every couple of weeks there. So still needs to be a
Sure.
fair bit more done for
Okay.
females, I think, in my
Nice.
opinion.
Yeah, no, good for you,
Because
man.
female Muay Thai is like really fucking growing.
It seems to
Getting
be,
really
man.
po
Yep.
it's getting really popular with females, especially in Australia. The
Mhm.
level is quite high and competitive in Australia.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
follow
yeah,
closely. I love Aussie Muay Thai. I follow close.
yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
real cool. Um, I've been following a little bit of Canada recently, and
Nice.
it's growing. It's growing, especially with like Kieran Kettle
Yeah.
and the all the Road to One stuff. So it's been really cool to see the professionals develop a bit more.
Yeah, I'm
And
grateful to be
obviously
part
with
of it as well.
yeah, no, it's sick, dude. Like you're doing really good stuff over there. Kieran was telling me about some of the stuff you're doing over there. So
No,
shout out to the Shout Out podcast, my
there you
friend.
go. Thanks, man. Makes me blush.
No worries. No worries.
Um, who are your, just before we're out of here, I always ask guests this question. Who are your three favorite fighters of all time and why?
Oh, dude.
Doesn't have to be a particular
Okay.
order. The reason I say three, really what I'm asking for, or who are the three that pop into your head?
Okay, right now, okay, from when I started Lit Tewada, if everybody knows Lit Tewada, Pet
Mm-hmm.
Yindi,
Mm-hmm.
he's a fighter that I've been following pretty much since I started. So I think he's about 27 or 28 now. When I first started, he must have been around 16, 17.
Okay.
Um, I was really impressed with his performances on the stadiums on Channel 7. And also, I was a big fan of his girlfriend at the time, Namtan. So, Namtan fought a teammate of mine, Yolanda Schmidt,
Mm.
on the Muay Thai Angels promotion in Bangkok in about 2015, 2016. It was an 8 woman tournament for the best fighters at that weight in the
Wow.
world, and I think it was for £1 million prize money.
Ooh.
And through knowing about Namtan, I knew about Lit Tewada because I think they're still together, but they were going out with each other at that stage, and that's how I found out about Lit Tewada. And then he didn't used to be with Pet Yindi. He used to train out of his gym in his hometown, but
Okay.
then he got signed by Pet Yindi, and then his career just went woo.
Sure. Sure.
So yeah, really cool, really cool. And he's back. He's also back. Obviously he fought Daniel Rodriguez on RWS
Mm-hmm.
last year. Had a very tough time against Daniel Rodriguez, and then last 2 weeks ago he made a comeback, fought this Chinese boy and stopped him in 12 seconds with
Right.
this vicious right elbow
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
eyelid. You would have seen that.
You bet.
Um, so Lit Tewada, uh, top fighters of all time, man. Uh, Yodwicha in his prime
Sure.
when he took Muay Thai a bit more seriously.
Yep.
When he was a complete clinch monster. I
Yep.
love clinch fighters.
Mm.
I was a clinch fighter myself. Um, and a lot, look, this is a thing. A lot of like, I get this a lot with like, you know, dealing with commentary and stuff and dealing with this new generation of fighters. People will tell you they're a Muay Thai fighter. I'm like, you're not, dude. Like, you're not.
Right.
Okay, just because you get somebody in the plum position doesn't mean you're a Muay Thai fighter. Yodwicha in his prime was a proper Muay Thai fighter. And when another one, Muay Thai PK Sanchai, when he was in his prime, probably around 2016, 2017,
Right.
he was a fucking beast. The elbow zombie, they used to call
That's
him.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to call him the elbow zombie. He was sick. And one more. I'm going to give
Let's
you a
do it.
fourth
Let's
one.
do it, man.
They're all tires because I live here and I love tires. Superbank.
Super bank.
Superbank.
Nice.
Yeah, Superbank, the sweep king.
Nice.
Now, we often talk about this in the commentary on RWS that sweeps now are contentious territory. And if anybody watched the last Petsaman fight against Kunsuk Noi,
Yep.
Petsaman tied an even round. I think it was round number 3 or 4. It was a 9-9 round because he lost. He got a point deduction for illegal sweeps.
Right.
Now, we made the argument, Aaron and I made the argument that he has grown up around the gambling culture or the 5 round culture of the gamblers favoring the sweeps. Obviously, we can't talk about that on the stream,
Uh-huh.
but we say, he grew up in that culture of sweeps. So he's just reverting back to muscle memory.
Sure.
And I did say, I was like, yes, but times have changed. He has to be careful of the sweeps
Yeah. Yeah.
because the thing about a lot about the scoring and the fouls, some of that stuff varies stadium to stadium. The scoring isn't always as clear cut as we would like it to be
Yeah.
because it depends on what the punters want to see.
Right.
And it also depends on the referee body that they have there. Some guys will turn a blind eye to some things, and some guys will be strict enforcers on other
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
For me, one of the clearest cut and most consistent referees is Ajahn Parin Hatanabo, who's a referee at Rajadamnern Stadium and for the WBC.
Okay.
He's probably one of the most consistent referees in he pulls fighters up for everything,
Okay.
absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So now sweeps are very contentious. So when you grab the kick and you kick out the feet, oh, I just kicked my toe on my desk. But
Careful.
you've got to kick the feet from underneath it. You can't hook it.
Right.
Because normally, like a lot of people have been taught about utilizing leverage or weight distribution, especially in clinch sweeps.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's got to be a clean kick to take out the feet because technically it's got to be seen as a kick that rattles their balance. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right. Which is very hard to do in the clinch to get your shin turned over like that.
yeah.
And you know what? That's funny you mentioned that. And we're dealing with the same thing around here as well. And I tell my fighters like, so is that sweep illegal? I'm like, well, yeah, but we don't know this ref, so do it. And if you don't get in trouble, you're good. And if you do, don't do it anymore. Like I tell them to test it. Test. Let's see what the ref does.
Yeah, and I think that's a fairly good way of looking at it is see what you can get away with. Obviously, not going full foul
Sure.
mode, but
Sure.
see what you can get away with. And the thing is like Muay Thai judging and refereeing is probably the most inconsistent sport
Preach.
because of the different styles
Yep.
that are being blended into Muay Thai now. You've
Right.
got so many guys that are coming from karate, Kyokushin karate backgrounds,
Yes.
kickboxing backgrounds,
Yep.
uh, Dutch kickboxing, and then throwing it in there with Muay Thai because of Muay Thai's expansion.
Yep.
And even like foreign Muay Thai is a completely different style to Thai style
Yes.
anyway. So,
Yes.
you know,
Yep. Yeah, I
So
agree.
yeah, yeah.
And then who knows what the refs and judges experience they have, who they trained with, what's their fight style, what do they like to see? I mean, I know, let's be real, we're not robots. Personal itness is going to be part of it. You know, we're just people.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I mean, that's like, and I don't think that's even like a contentious thing to say that
no,
like physiology and ethnicity certainly plays a big part into style. And I actually said this on a show not long ago, is that fighters' style is actually dictated a lot by their skeletal structure and their physiology. So you guys with shorter torsos but longer legs are going to tend to be better clinch fighters, especially if they're taller in their weight divisions.
right.
The shorter, stockier guys with big shoulders are going to be better Muay Mat fighters
Yep.
because they can go to the body, kick the legs easier.
Stable.
Yep, stable. The guys with a long reach and long legs are going to be better kickers. So, it's
Yeah.
just like a lot of it is down to genetics and physiology. And the thing is, I think there was a sports science study done a couple of years ago about kicking, and that Thais have better hit dexterity than a lot of other ethnicities. So that's why they're able to get so much flexion out of their
Right.
kicks.
Yeah.
That's why they kick so hard. So
Yeah. There
anyway,
you
a
go.
lot of
Yeah.
it's down a lot of it's down to technique as well, but there is that like 1% variable down to genetics as
Right.
well.
And like you said, that
So
1% genetics also makes the champions.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. I got to go feed my cub here before school,
No,
but
no worries.
the one I always ask, well, you only get one. You get to give one shout out to one person. Who is it?
Oh man.
I know it's one. That way it's
Uh
very difficult.
I'm gonna give my shout out to Bank Tainchai Pisit Wutinan, who is the CEO of RWS. He is the chairman of GSB. If it wasn't for him believing in me, I wouldn't be as passionate as I am. So big
Nice.
shout out to him and seeing the value in the work that I bring to Rajdamnern, and uh, he's a really really kind soul, and so big shout out to him. He's also changing the sport for the better.
Right. Yeah. Nice. Good job. So sorry, that name passed me one more time.
Bank Tainchai Pisit Wutinan. So people know him as Bank. He's the he's the handsome looking guy
Mhm.
who is the boss of partly a boss of Rajadamnern and RWS.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
Um, anything else before we're out of here?
Mate, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for having me on. There's not been many people who have invited me onto podcasts at all.
Crazy. Of
So I really, really appreciate the support.
course.
And thank you everyone who likes, shares, subscribes my content. I couldn't do it without you guys. And also, mate, keep doing what you're doing in Canada. And, we're starting to see more athletes break through here in Thailand from Canada. So it's awesome to see what you guys are achieving over there. And obviously, if anybody wants to fight at Rajamnern on SKS, shoot me a line. Unfortunately, females, I can't get you on there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when I become a promoter
There you
and
go.
I start wearing velvet jackets. So
There you go.
uh,
The gears are starting to turn. So be
that's it.
patient.
That's
Be
it. I'll
patient.
start wearing fake Gucci shirts. So
There
yeah.
you go. And then you
Mate,
real
thank
really
you.
see it, Joey.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Some gold chains and
That's right.
stuff. Nah, thanks for having me on, man, and I really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, from my point of view, I'm going to be real. I took a shot in the dark contacting you, and you said, "Yeah, let's do it." I was like, "No shit, no way."
No,
This is a big deal for me. I follow you. I like the growth. I see what you're doing. You're doing things that I want. I see what you're doing, and not implementing, but implementing. But what you're doing is something I would like to do as well. And so I'm a follow. I'm a supporter. And yeah, thanks for doing the podcast. And listen, this doesn't have to be one and done. Anytime, as I mentioned to everybody, let's get back on the blower when there's something fun and do it again.
Yeah, no worries. If maybe next time we could talk a little bit more of like the industry in and outs and that sort of stuff, and maybe not so much about myself. I
Yes.
kind of get a little bit shy about talking about myself. I mean, I'm happy to be transparent and that sort of stuff, but yeah, more we could talk about the industry stuff and what fighters need to do for their careers, and I could definitely help in that sort of
Beauty.
aspect as well.
It,
Certainly here in Thailand, and yeah.
nice. And that's what I want. Once we get to know people, if there's a second one, good. We've done the getting to know you. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. So I would love to do it again and absolutely speak about the industry. You're doing things on the side of the planet. I have no idea what's happening, so I'd love to just get educated on it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. And I'm sorry if I was a little bit inarticulate for this one, but yeah, those 8-year-olds, man, they run circles around me. So thank you very much for having me, sir, and keep doing what you're doing in the world of Muay Thai.
That's it, man. You too, sir. Yeah, way to finish. All right, man. Thank you very much. Hey, and
Thanks, brother.
look forward to having it happen again.
Awesome.
All
See you,
right.
man.
Take care, sir.